We are taking chapter number 6, which is population. So population, Jansankhya, we are going to talk about this. Before we go ahead, this is the population of India in 2017. The next census is going to be held in 2021. Last one happened on 2011. So what is the population we have? That is the count of the people in our country. And this is 133.92. So around 140 crores we are. And by 2045, because we are here, and the way we have increased from 1960 to this 2017, and this is the idea of 210, how much we were. And after some time, maybe in 2040-45, it is possible that we are going to overcome China. This China is having the highest population of people in all over world. So population, first of all, people. We are talking about population, that means we are talking about people, men, women, kids, everyone. So people make and use resources. So people are the main, because if you see anything, it is of no use, like a rock. A rock is there, but say a coal is a rock until it is being actually used by some technology and make it as a resource. And this who does it? Human beings does it. People do it. So the disaster also, say tsunami becomes a disaster only when it is affected, or it affects the people, normal people, right? So they are also considered as resources having different quality. That means there are different resources we talked about, but human is also a resource. Human is the main resource. That is why we are talking about population. So population, that is the total number, that is all the count of, say, all the counts of the people, number of persons inhabiting a particular place. It can be city, it can be state, it can be a country. So this is the central element in the social studies. Whenever we talk about some social studies, whether the government has to make some decision, whether the other people who are the institutions, they want to know about what facilities they can give, or whatever is going on, it all depends on the number of population. So it is the point of reference from which all other elements are observed. So population is a kind of spectacles, right? The specs you wear. So population is the specs anybody will wear to see the world, to see the country, to see the state. So human beings, they are producers. They produce also, and they are consumers also of all the resources. So the information or the idea about population of a country, like the size of the population, the distribution, these are very important. So what is the size? Size means, say, if this is one state, let me take you to the state now. Now here we have Uttar Pradesh, and we have around 20 crore people here. So this is a region where high density of population is there. So we say the size of the population is quite high. And the Rajasthan is the biggest state in India, right? But the distribution of the population is less as compared to Uttar Pradesh. And if you see Jammu and Kashmir or these northeast area, especially you come to Mizoram, there are very less people. So they are distributed unevenly, right? And here some places, say Delhi is the hub, or you can say Union Territory. So everyone is there. So the distribution is quite you can say the ghanatva, the density is quite high. We'll talk about all this in great detail. So census, there is a word which is going to come whenever we talk about population, and this is called census. So what is this census? Census is, see, if I go to some house and I just see men, women, some kid, so I'll say you are 4 people. But when the government does that, when the government is involved, so it's an official. Census is an official enumeration. Enumeration means counting of the population, that is the number of people, it can be anybody, done periodically. So this is done periodically, and in India it is done in 10 years. So let me give you some idea about that census. So as I said, it's an official enumeration or counting of people, and it has to be done periodically, then we call it as a census. So we started with, in India started the counting from 1872, but until 1881 the first census was complete. So we call it as 1881. So this 1881, after that every 10th year, that is, we said that it has to be periodically. So after the 1881, every 10 years, census, government does that, right? And it is just not counting of the people. It's about knowing the demography of the people, like where they live, the social and economic data, the religious data, to the number of men, the number of women, the number of kids, the data in terms of their ages, the data in terms of their occupation. So census is not just counting. It's a whole lot of, it's a very enormous procedure. That's why the first, which actually started in 1872, until say 9 years it took to be completed. And since everything started from 1881, then we have 10 years. So you can see that next was 1891. Likewise, now we are in 2019. So next is going to be 2021. So this is going to be census in 2021. So what does this census provide us? As I said, that first of all, it gives the information about the people, the population of the country. That is, there are certain questions this census is able to answer, because census is all about getting ankde, all about getting the data. So the first thing is population size and the distribution. As I just said, we'll talk about this in the detail, but just to have an idea what is the size of a particular region, or what is the size or how it is being distributed. Say some places, this is the region. Some place you will find a lot of population. Sometimes some place the population is less, but still the addition of these will be total population, but the distribution is like this. Then the population growth and the process of population change. How does this population change? And the characteristics or the qualities of the population, that is, we will talk about this. I'm just taking it right now. So first is size and the distribution. So what do we mean when we say size and the distribution? See, as per March 2001, as I just shown you that what is the present scenario, but as of March 2001, Indian population was 1028 million. 1 million is a lakh. 1 million is 10 lakh. 1 million is 10 lakh. So you can understand that 1024 billion, which was 16.7% in 2001, 16.7% of the world population. And as we know that our area is only 2.4%, means Indian region is only 2.4% of the all world, right? So going ahead, this is the population in 2001, 1028 million. Apart from this, the most populous state, as I just mentioned you here, it's Uttar Pradesh. It was Uttar Pradesh, still it is. Uttar Pradesh is the highest populated state of India country, and the size of the population of UP is 166 million. As I said, I'm going to give you the latest numbers here, maybe in the next coming discussion. So which accounts for 16% of the Indian population. So if Indian population is 100, 16% of population is from Uttar Pradesh, UP. Sikkim population is only, at that time, 2001, was just 5 lakhs. Just 5 lakhs. And if you go to Lakshadweep, it was just 60,000. It was just 60,000. And if you talk about today's, means 2019-20, then the population has not increased. It has just gone up to 64,000 of these places. So there is a distribution. There is a different distribution, and this is the size, as I just showed you that how the places like this Sikkim, means Uttar Pradesh is highly populated. And when we come to the area called this northeast, actually Mizoram is also having a very, very less population. And then you come to Sikkim, and it's very less. This is the Sikkim. Gangtok is the capital. Then see, most of the state, that is Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, then Maharashtra, West Bengal, and Andhra Pradesh. This Andhra Pradesh, let me take you there. So this is, see, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Bihar, and Uttar Pradesh. Why I am taking the names of these 5 states? Because most of the population, Indian population, resides here. Around 50% you can say, because the actual idea is 48.8%. But just to say that half of the population lives in these 5 states. So this is the pie chart we just discussed. This is the rest of the world. So we account, and from, the data is of 2001. So we account for 16.7% of the world population. This is the rest of the world. And when we talk about area, as I said, that it is just 2.4%. We have the area, only 2.4% of the world area. And I'll come to population density, then I'll tell you one more very interesting thing. And this has to be discussed, First, see, around 51.2 this percent is from different state, but around 50%, this is exactly if you talk 48.8. So these all are these 5 states. Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh. Most of the population of India resides in these regions, these states of India country. So India's population distribution by density. What is the density? Density means the population density we are talking about is calculated as the number of person per unit area. So number of person per unit area, what does this mean? This means that if you have an area, say 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. So you take any area here, say here or here, any place, 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer area. So how many people are living here? Say 200. So the population density of this area is 200. If I take you, say, to 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer, 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer, and say we have 200 is the population, then you have to divide this by the area. That is number of person per unit area, right? So let me make it 2000. So 2000. So this is, what is the area? 10 into 10. So you have to make it 1. You have to make it 1. Then only this is the unit area. And that is called population density. So when you have 2000, so divide it by 10, that is 100. 20 is the population density. Here you have population density as 200. So this is having a higher population density as compared to this place, right? Because we have computed for 10 by 10, and when we come to 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, this is our actual population density, and this is coming to be 20. So the population density of India in the year 2001 was 324 person per square kilometer. That means I take all of the country, I take 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, and people who are living in 2001 were 324. So we are quite densely populated country. We are quite densely populated, and density vary from different place to different place. Like in West Bengal, this area, if this you come here, then these are 904. There are 904 person per square kilometer. That is 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. How many people are living? 904. And if you come to the Arunachal Pradesh, let me take you to this place. These both places, and they are quite near. This is West Bengal. 904 people per square kilometer people are living. And if you go to the other place, which is the Arunachal Pradesh, this Arunachal Pradesh is having just 13 people in 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. That is only 13 kilometer. If you go 1 kilometer length and 1 kilometer width, that is you travel around, you will see only 13 people inside. So the reason for the scarcity, that is why there are only 13% population, or 13% or 13 people in the density of Arunachal Pradesh has. The main reason is the resources, the conditions. So if you have a very good condition here, so we have all the Ganges plain and all these. This is a very ubjau zameen, means it's a very good land to live, and even the jalwayu or the climate is also good. So the reason for scarce, that is thinly distributed population in these states like the Meghalaya, like the Orissa, this is because they are rugged terrain. Means the terrain is not like this, but maybe like this. How a person can live here? Still the people live, but they are less. So we have rugged terrain, and the climatic conditions are quite harsh, especially in the mountain, the monsoon, and in the colder or the winter season. The places like these are very difficult to live in. If you see Ladakh and Jammu Kashmir, the population is even less. So because of the climate, there are certain conditions which are not favorable for human beings to live there. That is why we find most of the population in these 5 states, because there are resources, there are people, and there are the climatic conditions that are suiting them. So hilly, dissected, rocky nature of the terrain, the moderate to low rainfall, that is the rainfall may be less, the terrain is undulated, a lot of mountains are there, or rocky mountains, and shallow and less fertile soils, that is the land which is not very fertile, not very ubjau, so people can't cultivate. So these are all the influences or the factor why the population in Assam and most of the peninsular states, we have less people living there. So the northern plains and Kerala, like this plain I'm talking about, see, we talked about few places like this is Uttar Pradesh, and we talked about West Bengal, and we talked about Bihar. So all these are in the same, say, this belt. So the northern plains and this Kerala, in the south, they have a very high population density. That is, the people living in 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer area are quite high. Why? Because they have a flat plain, and the soil is quite fertile, abundant rainfall, like the rain is coming in a quite acceptable amount, that is in centimeter or millimeter. Then the most important thing apart from this is the climate. The climate is good for a human being to live. So one thing I would like to, as I said, one interesting thing is only Bangladesh and Japan, these are the 2 countries who are having more population densities that we have. India is, you can say, on the 3rd number as far as the population density is concerned. So you will be having a question why China is not having, because China has the region, that is the area of China is quite you can say it's elaborate, so the density becomes quite less. So this is the 2001 idea which is there. So at that time, this color means 500 and above. That means this Kerala and West Bengal, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, these are all the areas where per square kilometer 500 and plus people are living. When we come to the second region, that is this area, it is this one, this area. Assam is also having good population. That is around 250 to 500 people are living per square kilometer. Even coming below that, then we see 100 to 250. So this is the region. This one. So these are the region where we have 100 to say 250 people. The density is like this, and it's very scarce. People are living less. In which places? Jammu and Kashmir, Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, and Sikkim. So Sikkim, Mizoram and Jammu and Kashmir. And now coming to 2019, this is the latest map of India. So the population is around 140 crores, as we just said, and the population of Uttar Pradesh is around 20 crores. And then we have different population like Maharashtra, because the region is quite high. It's around 11. This is around 20 crores. They have around 11 crores. Bihar has 10 crores. Then if you see, Kerala is the region or the area of Kerala is quite less, but still it's around you can say 3.5 or less, just less than 3.5 crores, and this is quite a number when the region is in mind. And as I said, there are only 60,000 people in Lakshadweep at that time, but now we have just 64,000. So this Andaman Nicobar is having high number, around, say, this number is quite in lakhs, so it's around, you can say 4 lakhs around. So this is how the present status is. Rajasthan is having around 7 crores, Gujarat is having 6 crores. And if you take the place of Jammu Kashmir, because the place is because the conditions, climatic conditions, all other things taken into account, it's just 1.2 crores, not more than that. Coming to population growth, this is a very important thing. That population growth is what? This refers to the change in the number of inhabitants of a country or territory during a specific period of time, say during last 10 years. So population growth means the population increment or population decrement. So the change, that is how much population or people have changed, we can express them in 2 ways. First is we can find it in absolute numbers, and I'm writing it, and then in terms of the percentage change per year. So what is the absolute number? How do we find out the absolute number? We just find out by subtracting the earlier population by the later population. So say in 2001 the population is, I'm just taking an example, it is 100. And in 1991 it was, say, 80. So we subtracted 100 minus 80, that is 20. So this is the absolute population growth. This is how we find out. And this is the absolute increase. 20 is the absolute number of population growth. And then we talk about the rate of population. And this is rate of population is found out or estimated in percent per annum, means for 1 year. Percentage per annum, that is percentage per year. That is the rate of growth, or say rate of increase of 2% per annum, means that in a given year there was an increase of 2% for every 100 persons in a base population. So if I have say here 200 population, right? Say in 2018, right? Then we come to 2019. So the population became 204. The population became 204. So what is the number? What is the number? Say this is 204 and this is 200. So 204 minus 204 by 200. What is this? 4 by 200. That is 4 by 200, but this is 200. So 4 by 200 and just multiply it by 100. So what do we get? It is 2% increase. So 2004, this you can take any number. This make it be 2004, or it can be so any number. I'll just find it once more to let you understand that how do we find out the population growth or annual growth rate. Say in 2018 the population was say 500, and 2019 the population became 700. So what will be the change, or what will be the population growth in terms of percentage per annum? It will be 700 minus 500 by this 500 initial into 100. So this will be 200 by 500 into 100. So it will be 5 4 is 20. It is 40% increase, right? It is 40% increase per annum. I hope now you can compute it also. So India's population has been steadily increasing from 361 million in 1951 to 1028 million in 2001. This we already saw. Since 1981, the rate of growth started declining. Now this is the question which is being asked. Why from 1981 the population's rate of growth, which we talked about these two way of computing it, so started declining gradually as birth rate declined rapidly. But India has a very large population, so when a low annual rate is applied to a very large population, it still yields, or it still gives a large absolute increase. So now the question is, why in 1981 the rate of growth it declined? Why? Because the people, say men and women, they would create say 5 children, 8 children, say 10, 12 children. By 1981, the government came into action and they started family planning. They started giving pressure or thrust to the family planning, that is the Parivar Niyojan. So now the parents, now they were creating 2 or 3 kids. Do bacche hi achhe. So all these slogans were there. So now the amount of or the number of kids which were taking birth, it decreased. So there were only 2 or 3 kids. Right now also we are having it. Only 2 or 3 kids were taking birth, and also they were all taking all kind of actions like Nazbandi, copper tea, and every contraceptive things were the government were promoting it. That is why in 1981 the rate of growth actually decreased. Now let me take you to this. This is the magnitude and the rate of India's population. As we said, that 1951 it was 361 million, and in 2001 we have 1028 million. 1 million is how much? It's 10 lakh. So this is the annual growth rate. That is, I told you already how to compute it. It's 1.25 in 1951 and it is 1.93 in 2001. This is the annual growth rate, and because India is having so much of population, this they doesn't change. This is almost same. I'll take you to one more graph, which is the bar graph here, and this is the India's population and population growth rates during 1951 to 2001. If you see that it is increasing, and by 1981 it is decreasing. It is decreasing in 1981, and this is because of the reason I told you. But still the population, the bars are already taking place, so these are already increasing. Now coming to the process of population change and growth, this we are going to take in the next discussion. So till then, thank you so much and take care of yourself.